First order of business is old business. We are need to approve the minutes for September 2024. Are there any questions?
Make a motion. I second it.
Commissioner Hudson makes a motion, Commissioner Decker seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed have the same right? The motion carried unanimously. The second order of business is to approve accounts payable for September 2024. Are there any questions?
I'll make a motion.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Cousins,
I'll second it.
seconded by Commissioner Decker. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those right? The motion carries unanimously. Gotcha. The next order of business is the executive director's report. Uh, So, thank you everyone again for attending. We just want to announce, and first of all, thank you to all the residents for your patience. We had a little bit of back and forth with the elevators, but they're now operating nicely and efficiently, and working almost seemingly better than before. So again, I wish I was where not over, but they are working well. So thank you for your patience, and we do apologize for the inconvenience. So we are doing our best to keep them up and running. The second thing that I'd like to announce is that we will be having a resident meeting. And if you recall, our meetings are the second Tuesday of every month. However, this month, due to election day, we will not be in the office. So we're gonna move that date to that meeting to the very next day, Wednesday, November 6th, at our usual time. And we will have the resident meeting at that time. I always encourage you all the residents to attend. Please ask your neighbors, friends, to come. That is where they can get questions answered, ask whatever they need, and have open conversation. And it is your meeting that will be uninterrupted by other issues. So we'll be focusing on you, on your issues at that time. So please make sure that you attend. They're very important. I don't have a problem investing my time. It's my job, but I really do my best to ensure that I'm available and ready and have all the information that you need. And if not, I'll go back and get the information. But this is the space that we make for you, so that you can bring your issues forward. All right. The next item is we had a green space workshop, which was held on 9/17/2004, and it was successful, along with the sweets and the water that was there. But it was very successful. We had a number of residents as well as members from the community, and had very good open conversation and good dialogue, as well as questions about the green space. And we have an example of it tonight here shown, but we have a list of things, of items that residents and some community members gave opinions about what they'd like to see. And so we'll take those items back and see what it is that we can do or how we can work those in, and which ones are beneficial to us, and see what we can come up with for the project. So we thank you for that, participating in that. Again, those items are for, or those times and those meetings are made especially for the residents to attend, so that you can have say so. Please don't miss those opportunities. So you come later and be like, nobody asked us. This is your time. You have to attend the meetings. It's right here in the building. We just ask if you just come downstairs. If you're not available, please watch the meetings online, or come to the office and ask questions. But we want to use every opportunity to be transparent and give you the information. Fourth on the executive director's report is the elections are quickly approaching. We do have one resident commissioner seat that is up at the end of the year. And if you're not aware, we stagnate our resident commissioner seats so that they're not vacant. So every other year, we elect a resident commissioner for a 2-year term. So this election, you must have your petition submitted by 3 p.m. on November 4th, Monday, November 4th. And there will be a candidate forum on 12/2/2024. At that time, you can come, the candidates will be here. You can ask questions of them, how they'll be of service to you, maybe address things you may be interested in. And that is the same, and that on that very day, also elections will begin. Voting will begin, and that will last all the way up until 12/16, which will be our next meeting, or right before our next meeting, so we'll be able to announce the winner at that time. All right, so please get your petitions in if you haven't already. Participate in this activity. If you're not running, Section 8 residents are available to run too. If you're not running, please ensure that you come out and vote and participate in this activity so you can be happy with this election. All right. Next is Yutang Sanbudo from Marco, the Director of Development. She's going to give you a brief presentation about our development, and then I'll have some things to say after that as well. Can everybody see, or should we go into the room? Can everybody see?
So I wanted to make sure the board members could see this too. I know this is just as much of a recap for everyone here. So over the last 2 months, we've been revamping and trying to be as responsive as possible to all the parties who have given us feedback on our initial proposal. And we've been able to put together what we're calling a revised proposal. So the revised proposal, if you guys are tracking this on the HHA website, is not up, but it's not up because of like an administrative glitch. It's been shared with like the common council members as well as like, some ward leaders just to try to distribute it as much as possible. And my apologies, I didn't bring any printed copies out tonight, but if you look on HHA's website shortly, you should be able to see everything we're talking about here in a paper form, if that's easier for you. So we're still doing this project, redeveloping it in 2 parts. The 2 parts are separated by Bliss Towers and the reconstruction needs of Bliss Towers. So the first part that's is proposed to be built is this site, which is currently the basketball court site. And this site, this site right here, which is currently the part that is just west of Columbia Apartments. So you've got this strip that's west of Columbia Apartments and the basketball court site.
Let me hold that for you, Sam.
Oh, that's okay. I'll put it down. Yeah, thank you. Yes, okay.
Clarifying is like, when you say west of Columbia Apartments, you mean that empty space right behind?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
just for,
Thank you. There's actually, maybe this is a better diagram of that actual illustration too. So you have phase 1, which is the basketball court site here, and also this is going to be a part of phase 1, which is right adjacent to, I want to say,
To the townhome.
yeah,
Columbia Apartments, yeah.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
So on that, a part of that construction, we've got a 5-story building, a 4-story building, and another 5-story building. These sites together will be about 160 units. So you've got one 100-unit building and one 60-unit building. Hudson Housing Authority's offices are proposed to be on the ground floor of this strip right here. So for those still in Bliss and Columbia at all times, for everyone relocated in all these projects, the housing authority offices are going to be nice and central. Each of the buildings will have its own community room. So you'll have a space, it will have its own laundry room, and it will also have its own computer room. Outside of that, among these 2 projects, these 2 building clusters, we'll make sure that there is a gym as well as some sort of recreational, like interior recreational room. So that can be outfitted in a various number of ways, and we'll discuss that with you at a later time as well. We're also proposing in this building a 2,800 square foot commercial space. So some ideas that we've gotten from especially the planning board has given its opinion, as well as the community, is a little food market. So we're looking for a nice not-profit food market to potentially take some space there. And that's been generally well received. But we're gonna come back to the community with more details as they become available. Outside of that, once these two buildings are built, Bliss, which is right here in this whole building, will come down. Before, I should have given you maybe more background on that. Before it comes down, when these two buildings are built, everyone from Bliss and Columbia will have the opportunity to move into the new buildings. You'll move into the new buildings with your same rent structure. Nothing will change in terms of you having a voucher in the new project. And then these two projects will also introduce additional affordable housing for the community. So we are then also looking to introduce affordable housing for school teachers, like civil service members, hospital workers, different populations that all need affordable housing in the city of Hudson. After everyone is moved from Bliss, Bliss will come down, and then the second phase will be constructed. The second phase is probably not worth a deep discussion right now because it's still 2+ years away. But the second phase is proposed to introduce another maybe 160 apartments. So that's something as like for a later discussion. Also in this picture, I'm sorry, I've kind of glossed over. We have State Street that is proposed to be partially pedestrianized. So this should be able to open up the street to just pedestrian access, no cars, allow people to come into this green space. The green space is 2.5 acres. It's a pretty unique space that we've all been kind of chatting around the corner with. Sorry, this is a super inarticulate presentation here.
Great job.
But some ideas that we've had over the green space workshop are things like a picnic area, benches, trees, park space, an amphitheater. In this particular picture, we have the basketball court, which we know has gotten a lot of interest and excitement, and some like really just nice green walkways. Any questions from you guys?
Let me go back over to the.
Yeah.
You're gonna cut State Street off?
Just for that little portion of it, and we're only cutting it off for regular vehicle traffic. So what we're proposing to do is to. Let me see if it's in here. We're looking to, sorry, don't worry about it. We're looking to actually create a little thorough, like a little through road here that would allow you to connect.
Miss Shawn,
Which is First Street.
think about it like,
I can't think about it.
you know how people go flying and the kids are trying to get to the park? We're trying to just close that gap. That's the thing, and not all estate.
Hurt.
I know.
It hurts, you know, because this has been home forever, you know, I guess change is good, but and it's, I don't know.
That's the goal, to hear what a neighborhood looks like to you all, to everybody who's been here forever,
Yeah.
and recreate that so that your grandkids can get what it used to feel like, because it doesn't feel like that anymore.
To create community.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
understand, but it's just
It's a lot.
it's a lot, yeah.
Mhm.
And then how long is it gonna take?
So the construction itself will take about 2 years. We're still working through the architecture process right now. That will probably take another about 8 months or so to get, various approvals. But we are starting the process now.
And this is gonna be knocked down.
It won't be knocked down until you have a beautiful new place to live. 100%. No one's being displaced without a place to go to.
No, I don't live here, but I'm just here.
Are there any questions from anybody in the audience or anybody online?
So I wanted. Right, happy to take the questions first.
This is Carla. Thank you so much for this.
All right, excuse me 1 second, Carla, and if, just so we can keep order, if anyone else would like to speak, you can just raise your hand, please. You can go ahead, Carla. But please, anyone else, please raise your hand so that I can ensure to, I got you already, Carla, thank you. You may continue.
Okay, thank you. So you said the building's gonna take 2 years. Is that for the first 2 buildings before you are are able to bring down the Bliss Tower right now. And then the second phase will be another 2 years or year and a half.
That's right. It's a loose timeline. So usually, like a new construction of a single building would be about 18 months. Plus, you want to make sure you have enough time to lease up people. So give that 6 months to build it, get your C of O, and then move people in over 6 months. So we say about 24 months.
Gotcha.
We are doing environmental remediation on the front end before construction. So there's a lot of site work actually that needs to be done. We're still getting a proposal of what that site work will entail, but it's probably scooping out tons and tons and tons of soil that, we'll have to get a timeline for, which will be separate on the front end.
Got you. And that's, just for clarity, and then there's plus the architectural work that you just said, that's also about 8 months. So it's tacked on. So it's 2 years, 8 months.
Yes.
Or is it? Okay. So we're now talking, okay. And regarding the costs, given the way it's being revised, is it less, more? Is it to be determined? Where are you finding? I'm asking a lot of questions, so maybe where are you finding there may be more money needing to be spent in one area and less money needing to be spent in another?
So the financing is like the core of what development does, right? Is securing the proper financing for the project. We've been discussing the financing with multiple parties. Nothing has been committed yet, but one of the reasons we looked into reducing the height was it was a very effective way to address cost savings with the materials and labor costs used from one material to the next.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
For the board, I did want to just present the composites of like 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, and 4 bedrooms really briefly, because I think that's an important consideration. As our architects are looking to build it out, nothing is final, but it does have a larger impact in terms of like laying out the floor plan and the unit counts. So right now, what we're working with, I'll tell you a quick recap of what the composite of HHA is now and how we tied it together. But HHA has about 55% one-person households right now. So we have those one-person households are between studio and 1 bedrooms. I know that right sizing could be out there, but that's how it generally ties together. We are looking to remove all studios and make 1 bedrooms for everyone. And so we have, out of our percentages, 52% of 1 bedrooms. You currently have 2-person households and 3-person households, which are traditionally your 2-bedroom households. You have 29% of 2-bedroom households, and we are proposing 28% of 2-bedroom households. And then 4-person to 6, you have 11%. This is actually an important difference. It's hard to couple them all together. 4-person households, you have 11%. 5 persons, you have 2%, 6 persons, 2%, and 8 persons, you just have 1 household, which is an 8-person household. So at the 3 bedrooms, we have 18%. Sorry, that math gets hard when you're talking about numbers there. And then at 4 bedrooms, we have 2%. So I know that we were originally considering making the 4 bedrooms in the townhouses that are spread out across the scattered sites by currently owned by HCDPA. We are in discussions with them on extending our option to purchase those contracts. I know Jeff is going to give you a quick preview on our recap to date on that front, but I think what would be the safest to assume is that we should create 4 bedrooms in the multifamily projects to ensure that the 4-bedroom households have a place to come inside into HHA's multifamily sites. Is that like a safe approach to, and then if we don't have that need and really our stats really aren't supporting the 4-bedroom households, we can also probably more easily carve those into 2 1-bedrooms instead of, combining various square footages.
I think that that's an important change and point to make, because one of the things that's lacking in Hudson is 3+ bedrooms for larger families. And I think families want to be in community. They want to have access to all the amenities. So That makes more sense to me.
Okay, great.
But
And
that's
so,
me.
and just, as a reference point, when I talk about percentages, what we're matching up are, all of the units are gonna be in larger numbers than they are represented here, except for the 5 bedrooms, which, honestly are generally underutilized across the board, but we'll have the 4 bedrooms to absorb that. Okay, thank you. So we'll take that approach moving forward. That was really my only, recap. Please let me know if anyone else has questions. Happy to answer them.
Are there any other questions?
Yeah, yes, this is Margaret Morris. I'm trying to find a way to raise my hand, Jeff, but I'm not seeing it.
No worries, you have the floor now, and I think
Okay,
Ms.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, so you indicated that you're in discussions with HCDPA. I'm the
Oh.
treasurer of HCDPA with regard to the monies that you're paying. And this was an issue that was brought up in our meeting earlier this week. So as of October 31st, HHA is due to pay a $25,000 fee to HCDPA, holding buildings that you potentially, it's holding it for your potential purchase of those buildings. So
Land.
can
Land,
Jack or
okay.
somebody please speak to that? Because the HCDPA in our last meeting, we said we'll wait and see what HHA is saying about this, but I am not, you said you're in discussions with HCDPA. I do know that you sent you rather than the Hudson Housing Authority. The Hudson Housing Authority is the entity that has the agreement with HCDPA. I do know that you sent an email to HCDPA, but we have not heard from the Housing Authority, and we would like to know what exactly the Housing Authority is going to do about the $25,000 that is due on October 31st. Thank you.
Margaret, when you say, thank you for the question, though, but just
Yeah.
to be clear, I am the representative for the Housing Authority, so that's not coming from Jeffrey Dodson. Although I signed the letter, I am the spokesperson for the Housing Authority, so that
That was
is,
my question.
the letter was not from me and my personal personal agenda. That is from on behalf of the Housing Authority. And additionally to that point, which was my next statement I wanted to bring to the board this evening, what that is and and I'm asking you to vote on it since they want to, the HCDPA wants to hear from you collectively. But we believe we're operating in good faith because that timeline is running out. It is at October 31st. And the reason I responded is because time was of the essence and I wanted to make sure that they knew that we were working with them and on this. But what I'm asking of you, and I've asked of them already, is to propose that they give us an extension to the end of the year on that option agreement, which is the first time we've asked for an extension. Each of our other payments have been timely. This is the 3rd year. And until we'd like to have further discussion to ensure what it is that we're going to do. And we need those next couple of months to get that down. And after that, we'll move forward and we can, address HCDPA. So my recommendation is that we do ask HCDPA for an extension until the end of the year so that we can make a decision on how we will work with those properties, if at all.
So Jeff, speaking for the HCDPA and
I'm
as the treasurer of the HCDPA, what I would like to say to you is, why can the Hudson Housing Authority not go ahead and pay the $25,000 that is due on October 31st, and we can certainly grant you an extension to decide which properties you are or are not going to purchase? That's fine. But why would we grant you an extension on the 25th?
Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you, Margaret?
I'm sorry, can
Why
I finish?
would you not?
Can I finish speaking?
Yes.
I do not understand why the Housing Authority should not go forward, pay what is due on October 31st. In the normal scheme of things, you would also be making a decision as to what properties you were or were not planning to purchase. We're certainly willing to discuss with you what
I'd
it
actually
is.
like to interrupt, Margaret.
sorry.
I think
I'm sorry, I am speaking. Can you wait until I have finished what I am saying?
just barely.
No, I don't think you should be speaking for the board,
Yeah,
especially when.
honestly, I really don't think this is appropriate, Margaret.
You
I think,
shouldn't be doing that.
Margaret, this is a matter for the HHA to decide we're about to decide what we're going to ask from the HCDPA. And this is not a time to discuss what the HCDPA wants from HHA.
Well, it's actually,
If I can just add, if I can just add something to be
I'm
clear.
sorry, it's actually,
I can just add something to be clear.
sorry,
Um,
Jeff.
If I can add something to be clear, I'd like to clear something for the record. We all live here in the city of Hudson. We're talking about a cooperative agreement. And the decision point that is necessary because of the fact that the housing authority is in the financial situation that it is in, is that we're trying to decide whether we want to move forward or not at this point. The HCDPA is not going to return the money if we decide not to purchase. And so we have come to a point of decision and we have to decide whether we're going to go forward or not. And so asking for a 2-month extension is not unreasonable for an immense business decision when I have to make sure that our residents come first. So that's why my recommendation
So
is.
Jeff, I
Hold on, Mr.
sorry,
DeVito.
Jeff, I completely understand what you're saying. And should the housing authority decide that they are not going forward and they are not going to pay the additional 25,000 for the city of Hudson to hold those buildings off for the HHA to purchase them, that's fine. You can opt out as of October 31st, not pay the 25,000 and let it pass. And then the city of Hudson can then pursue other options for selling those lots. But
Oh,
what
can I just clarify? Can I ask a question? Can I ask a quick question? Can I ask a quick question?
Sorry, what is on the table here is,
Thank you for the point of information.
I just want to ask a question,
I'm
Margaret.
sorry,
just
let
to
me
clarify.
finish. Let me finish.
No,
Okay.
I want you to think about the mission. Think about HCDPA mission before you keep opening up, please. Think about the mission before you keep going on, Margaret, please. And you're the only one out of all of us on the board. You don't get to decide anything.
That's right. I really think this is completely out of order. Like the entire HCDPA board is not here to make these comments or to agree to them or to be represented. And so I think you actually really need to stop, Margaret.
Immediately. You are making a mess of yourself. Disgusting.
All right.
I'm sorry, what was disgusting? Can you just explain to me what was disgusting
Well,
exactly?
this whole, the whole conversation, you
No,
don't.
nobody needs to explain what's disgusting, okay? We need to move on.
No, it's a point of order. If you call someone's comments disgusting in a public forum, I'm just trying to understand. I don't understand the miscommunication here. And why
Because
is
the mission of HCDPA and how these people were affected during urban renewal. You should be doing everything you can for these people, period.
The mission
sorry,
of
what is
the
the HDPA?
to
Sorry, what's that
clarify.
acronym?
Hugo,
I'm
to
sorry, I'm
clarify.
sorry. Excuse me, everybody. Order, please.
There's
We have some people. with their
community
hands up.
questions.
We have some people with their hands up.
Right. So we're yielding to people in the community, right? And that are here in person because they've been trying to speak for a minute.
So hold on a moment. Someone had a question or a statement?
Just that, to speak to the last comment by Hugo, what was kind of out of order is that Margaret does not speak, she kept saying we. She did not speak for HCDPA on her own, she's speaking for herself, not for the 5 members of HCDPA. It's completely out of order and out of decorum or whatever you want, out of procedure for her to go on like that.
Anybody else?
And if I can just continue to clarify what the mission of HCDPA is, it's to serve the needs of the low income community of Hudson.
Let's
Tom, that's
forget
super
it.
clear. Thanks. What does HDPA stand for?
Excuse
Sorry.
me, excuse me.
It's the
one moment.
Hudson
You
Community
gotta do
Development
research outside of these
Do your
meetings.
homework.
And
I'm sorry,
please-
I'm coming you with information. Sorry, Nick.
and
Hudson,
please
what?
raise your hand. I already have someone else's that has their hand up. Mr. Kopnicki?
Yes, I'd just like to make a comment about procedure without taking any, position one way or the other on this. I really think it's the chair's obligation to keep order in this meeting. as in all meetings. I think that the meeting has been rather disorderly. I don't think terms like disgusting, if I'm remembering this correctly, should be allowed in the meeting. And I don't think speakers who have the floor should be interrupted until they're finished saying what they want to say, whether you agree with them or don't agree with them. Thank you.
Thank you, Ronald.
Thank you for your comment, and I just want to add, we also should, we need to be considerate of the folks that are on here as well as the people that attend this meeting, and we should not have any one person trying to dominate the meeting. We have no problem trying to have open discussion, but you know, we ask a person to ask a question and it turns into 10 questions. Again, we don't have a problem being transparent, but it's not fair to other people who have things that they want to ask or make comments. Are there any more comments or concerns at this time? All right. That being said, at this point, we have a resolution on the floor.
Carla does have her hand raised.
Oh, let's start off. Thank you.
I wanted to go back to the conversation about the different bedrooms. The breakdown, was that for the total of 320? It'll be the equivalent of, is that the total
No,
percentages?
I think that was what our current, I think to answer your question, excuse me for cutting you off, I believe that is what our current makeup, is that correct, you?
It is, so it's our current makeup compared to what our phase one makeup would be. So we haven't presented on any of the details on phase two. Really, it's an unknown phase two at a subsequent time. So phase one is proposing to have similar percentage composite of the existing unit.
Got you. So if I understand, for phase one, 52% would be 1 bedrooms, 28% 2 bedrooms, 18% 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms would be 2%. And that's for the first part. And that's equal to buildings 1 and 2, the fourth floor and the 5th floor. That would equal 160.
If you're looking, it's equal to like this basketball court building and also the building to, I want to say the west side again of Columbia Apartments, but I'm sorry, I don't know how to best describe that piece. The HHA.
Right. I'm more concerned about the residents in Bliss Towers. That's going to match what's needed for them for phase one.
Right?
It's gonna be more than what they need.
It's more than what's needed.
Okay. I just wanted to know that. And then the other piece was the discord where some people, the board doesn't feel that what was brought up was appropriate. Then when I don't know where to lodge this, because it seems that when somebody brings up something that the board doesn't like, even if it's appropriate to not like, where does it then go? Where do you then deal with stuff? Because everybody this got very spicy and people got really upset, and there were unprofessional behaviors being demonstrated.
To be crystal clear, I believe that the response was because Ms. Morris was speaking on behalf of the HCDPA. And while she is a member, she is not the total body. And that's what everyone was trying to make clear and address. That's all.
Exactly.
Unless we're misunderstanding and there was some vote by HCDPA or they asked Margaret to do that and we weren't aware of it, to make that statement and basically say that we had to make that payment by October 31st or we cannot continue. Because if that was if that really was a declaration that was made by HCDPA, that's a really important thing that we don't know about. So maybe it was in the meeting and we missed it.
No.
Well,
Zach, I can respond to that.
Okay.
And Ravonda, you were at the meeting.
Yes, I was.
We decided to hold off on any decision this until HHA came back and decided whether or not they were going to pay us on 10/31 the 25,000 that they owe for us to keep these properties on hold and not offer them to other developers. And I am waiting to hear what the HHA is going to decide on that, so that we can move forward, and we may have a special meeting after this, once HHA decides whether they are or are not going to pay the 25,000 that they owe to HCDPA on 10/31. And if you
Okay.
that is not what let me finish. If you decide that it's not what you are going to do, then HCDPA can convene a special meeting to decide what our next steps are.
So it sounds to me, since I wasn't on the HCDPA meeting and I'm not a member of HCDPA.
Oh, Claire,
but I-
sorry, I'm trying to see you speaking. Claire, go ahead.
But I'm a member of the HHA. This is our meeting where now the conversation that happened at the HCDPA meeting gets to be brought to the rest of this body that has the job of making decisions and coming up with recommendations. And then we'll come back to your body with our question and recommendation. So I think that's the process misstep where everybody got upset. And I would like to continue with our meeting. And then when we get back to the HCDPA meeting, you'll have the answers that you're looking for.
Yes.
Claire, I completely agree with you. Thing is
Thank you,
that-
but we have to ask for a point of order and move on to the next item on the agenda because there's tenants here that are here to see the rest of the meeting and hear what we have to talk about.
Claire, I understand what you're saying, but whatever decision that you make this evening with regard to whether or not you're going to pay HCDPA on 10/30.
You'll be here to hear it, Margaret. You're on the meeting.
I'm
You'll
sorry.
hear what we talk about.
Sorry,
You'll be privy to the discussion.
just a moment, Claire. Just a moment. Depending on what you decide at your meeting tonight, the HCDPA may need to convene a special meeting to determine what
Great.
they are.
That is for your body of government
Right.
to work on that together, not on this meeting though, not on this meeting.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We're gonna take our final comment from Hugo, because we are already under some conflict this evening. And have to move on to the next thing. Hugo, do you have a comment?
Sure, I'll be quick. Jeff, your last explanation on the point of order was actually very helpful. Thank you. Just for what it's worth. And second is, Nick, I'm really sorry. There are so many acronyms in this town. I'm happy to work with you or with you, and maybe this already exists, to make like an acronym list for the public website that you guys have. Like honestly, there's so many acronyms. And then Claire, or Commissioner Cousins, feel free to answer or not on your question earlier about closing down that street, making it feel more similar to a time ago. Genuine, sincere question. Is the intent to have it be historically or traffic or safety or sort of, yeah, like I guess road traffic wise, more similar to like 20 years ago in 2004, 1994, 84, 74, you know, like when you say you want it the way it was in the past.
That comment was directed at somebody who's been here for a long time, and I wasn't saying that the street is going to resemble what it's looked like in the past. I was using the example of children that live on this property wanted to go across the street to the playground that was across the street. It was very dangerous for them to cross the street, so I wanted her to envision what it would look like to have that street closed, and I think she understood that based on our conversation.
Got it. So it is just road safety. Okay, great. Thanks.
Thank you, everybody. At this time, I'd like to make a recommendation that we send a request to HCDPA to extend the deadline and extend the option agreement for the property.
I'll move that.
A second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Cousins and seconded by Commissioner Decker. Any questions? We'll take a roll call vote. Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Zakos,
Aye.
Commissioner Cousins,
Aye.
Commissioner Decker,
Aye.
Commissioner McPherson,
Aye.
Commissioner Wolf.
Aye.
The motion carries. Thank you. At this time, we'll move to the next order of business, which is executive session. Can I have a motion to go into executive session?
Motion.
I second it.
Motion by Commissioner Zakos and seconded by Commissioner Decker.
Jeff,
I'm
Jeff,
sorry, thank you. Excuse me.
I have to ask a question. when you come back out of executive session, do you have other business or is this the end of this meeting?
This will be the end of the meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry, you're going into executive session for personnel matter. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Great
You go.
question. I'm sorry, Jeff, just maybe not this week, but next week, if you could, or whenever you guys have a meeting again, could you just list the reason for going into an executive sessions? And you don't have to do this today, but you normally have to check off certain boxes to do that in New York State public meeting laws, and just do it next time so people understand the reason for the executive session.
You may not have heard it, but he just did.
I just made the.
Sorry, I didn't hear it. Okay, well, put it in the notes. Thanks, Nick.
We're going into executive session for personnel matter. Thank you.
You said it.
Well, you gotta reschedule these meetings. Farther away from cocktail hour.
Yes.
That's a
Agreed.
No, yes.
It's their noon
Thank you.
on whatever day.
Thank you,
They haven't had that first break.
Yes.
No, listen. Damo, please take that stuff